Created.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I'm so
Cool.
excited. Oh my God.
He's official.
He's officially going into the next round,
Cool.
which is more involved. But, you know, it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for your love and prayers. It helps.
Hello.
1
Out
minute.
there.
Un momento, por favor.
Un momento. Good morning, Genesis.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Genesis Center for Spiritual Living. Please stand and sing our opening song, I'm Choosing Heaven Today.
I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing joy. I'm choosing joy today. I'm choosing joy today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing. I'm choosing joy today. I choose abundance today. I choose abundance today. I am walking the road of abundance right now, singing. I choose abundance today. I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing love today. I am walking the road of love right now, singing. I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing. I'm choosing heaven today.
All right, I'm so glad you're here and chose to spend the morning with us. My name is Randy Singer. I'm a spiritual practitioner here at Genesis, and I'll be your host today. All right, our online host today is Eric. If you're watching on Facebook, please say hello to everyone in the comments, share your reactions, and make a connection. All right, as a community, we're boldly stepping into a season of abundance, of Thanksgiving, and where we are invited to practice being in the flow, leveling up our experience of prosperity. We engage in this flow by making a pledge to share our wealth with our Genesis community. When we make a pledge, we're choosing to tap into the flow of divine goodness. Our pledge is the flood tide of abundance that lifts Genesis to new heights. Please proclaim with me the following vision. All right. We come together to create a rising tide that lifts us all. Announcements. Name tags are available back at the coffee station. Reclaiming Joy After Loss meets today on Zoom at noon after service. All right. Coming in January, which is just right next month, monthly meditation and conversation on the second Sundays from 12 to 1 p.m., facilitated by Karen L. Williams, practitioner. We're hosting a celebration party just for Genesis, simply to honor and celebrate how truly amazing this community is, and to thank you for the love, commitment, and generosity that make it thrive. Join us Saturday, January 10th from 5 to 8 p.m. at Studio 620 for great food, live music, and meaningful time with friends. Bring your family, relax, and enjoy. Please RSVP, respond s'il vous plaît, at the welcome table or by mailing info@genesis.org. I think it's genesiscsl.org. Yes, so genesiscsl.org. Do you shop at Fred Meyer? Support Genesis through your purchases. Details at the welcome table or any Kroger store. Visioning a Way of Life 6-week Zoom class, January 13th through February 17th, Tuesdays from 7 to 10 p.m., and the early rate is still available. And there's some awesome people teaching who are here today. Me and Christine S. are teaching that. Join Love Visioning on Zoom the first Thursday of each month. So the book study will be starting next week, next year. It will be the new book, Everyday Oracles, Decoding the Divine Messages That Are All Around Us by Anne Bollinger McQuaid. And there may be some more info on the flyers at the welcome desk if you want to go over there and check it out. Okay. Do we have first-time guests today? Are we all family here? Well, if anyone's watching at home, you're welcome, and let us know what's going on. Okay, so now that we've welcomed our guestesses, let's welcome and greet one another. If you aren't comfortable with hugging, just stick out your hand and we'll shake it instead. Namaste hands are a great choice for contactless greeting. You may stay seated if you prefer not to mingle, and then we'll, okay. There's extra stuff in here that's not applicable. So we will get up right now and mingle around for a couple minutes, so get with it. Okay, that was fun, and there's more time for that after service. Okay, I want to take this time to thank everyone in service today. So for setup and cleanup, we got the usual suspects, all the people you recognize, and you can include yourself in the cleanup. All right, morning greeter, we got Cynthia. Projector and video, we've got Eric and Mike. Online host is Eric. On the sound tech, we've got Jim. Gideon will be collecting the offering, and the music will be Chris and James. All right. So now we can remain seated and join us in singing the centering song, Breathe and Turn Within.
I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I pray and turn within. I pray and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I pray and turn within. I pray and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I sing and turn within. I sing and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I sing and turn within. I sing and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I open up my heart and feel God's love.
Okay. So today we'll do a little reading and a little prayer and have some good message today. I am Randy Singer and I'm a practitioner here. And so today I'll be reading from Can We Talk to God by Ernest Holmes. And let's figure out what page we're on in case you're following along at home. All right, page 102. It does not seem necessary to me that we approach God through any formula or intermediary, but rather that the Spirit of God, the eternal mind, is the power by which we think and know. It is self-evident that the only God we can know is the God our consciousness perceives. But some will say that while it is true that we cannot think outside of ourselves, we can know that which is outside of the self. This is true. It is the fact that we have a city hall, but it would have no reality to me unless I was first aware of its existence. This is true of everything, and while the possibility of knowledge may and must expand, we are ignorant of that which we do not perceive. Therefore, I believe that God is to each of us what that person is to God. The divine nature must be infinite, but we know only as much of this nature as we embody. In no other way can God be known to us. I believe the relationship between God and humankind is hidden within us, and we discover a new truth or have a better understanding about an old truth. It is much more of this infinite mind revealing itself through us. I believe in the direct connection between the spirit and the individual spirit personifying itself through each and all. This is a beautiful, logical, and unavoidable conclusion. This makes the human a divine being, a personification of spirit, but if we are divine beings, why is it that we are so limited and forlorn, so poor, miserable, and unhappy? The answer is that we are ignorant of our own nature, and the ignorance of law excuses no one from its effects. I believe that all things are governed by immutable and exact laws. These laws cannot be changed nor violated. Our ignorance of them will offer no excuse for their infringement, and we are made to suffer not because God wills it, but because we are ignorant of the truth of our being. We are individuals, and we are free. If we have free will and self-choice, we shall learn by experience through mental and physical. There is no other way to learn, and God himself could not provide any other way without contradicting his own nature. The Spirit is subject to the law of his own nature, and so are we. So I could keep going and going and going, but the truth is that we are that we are. And we can become aware to the truth, the reality, the experience, and we can choose again. And we can see it from a different way, and we can change our mind. And that is how we approach things, how we experience things, and know things. So let's just take this moment in prayer. I know that God is good. And as God is good, God is all things. And as God is all things, it is my life, it is your life, it is everyone around us, and everything we come in contact in every situation. And it is good. And as it is all good, I know right here and right now that each of us is empowered, emblazoned, and inspired to step into our own good. And that can change, and we can choose again. And when we see something, and when we're inspired by something, and when we're empowered by something, we can choose again, or we can be grateful for that which we have and say, more please, thank you, God. And I thank God knowing that it is already happening, it's already expressing, and it is inherently good. And I released into the action of law knowing that all I can do is say yes, 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 and so it is. All right. And so now we have some good music. Oh, there's me. So we've got Chris Sullivan and James Cochran. And here we go.
Snow glows white on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen. A kingdom of isolation, and it looks like I'm the queen. The wind is howling like this swirling storm inside. Couldn't keep it in, heaven knows I've tried. Don't let them in, don't let them see. Be the good girl you always have to be. Conceal, don't feel, don't let them know. Well, now they know. Let it go, let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. Let it go, let it go. Turn away. peace makes everything seem small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. It's time to see what I can do to test the limits and break through. No right, no wrong, for no rules for me. I'm free. Let it go, let it go. I am one with the wind and sky. Let it go, let it go. You'll never see me cry. Here I stand, and here I stay. Let the storm rage on. My power flurries through the air and through the ground. My soul is spiraling in frozen fractals all around. And one thought crystallizes like an icy bliss. I'm never going back. The past is in the past. Let it go, let it go, and arise like a break of dawn. Let it go, let it go. That perfect girl is gone. Here I stand in the light of day. Let the storm rage on. Cold never bothered me anyway.
Oh, thank you, Chris, so much for singing that song. Chris sang that song at my request. I really want to talk about the movie Frozen, but I also want to say, oh my gosh, you guys, Happy New Year. This is the last Sunday of 2025. Is anyone else like, how are we here already? And anyone else like, thank God we're finally here? Anybody in that boat? Because it's been a year. It's been a year. And I just want to share with you guys, you know what my favorite holiday is? New Year's. I love New Year's so much. Okay, so part of it might be because as a mom, the other holidays are a lot of work. But, and New Year's is kind of like, it's kind of like whatever I want to make it, right? There's not that expectation. If there's like a New Year's resolution setting, I'm doing it because I want to for me. It's a selfish holiday. I can make it what I want for me, and it's not about everyone else all the time, which is one of my favorite. Now, I love all the other holidays, don't get me wrong. I'm big into my holidays, but I just love me some New Year's. And one of the things I love about New Year's is the invitation to reflect and look at our year that we had. Now, next Sunday will be the first Sunday of the new year, and we get to talk about what we're doing moving forward next week. But this week is a sacred opportunity to look at 2025. I've noticed that social media and whatever, they like to make videos. This is what happened in 2025. I like to look at my life. What happened in 2025? And what I've noticed is I've made a practice. Years ago, I decided I'm going to do a letter to my family to let them know what happened in that year. This was before social media was a thing. Yes, I'm that old. And I would go through and I'd look at my year and I would write a letter to the people that I didn't get to talk to all the time because phone calls were long distance, were expensive back in those days. And I would write this letter. These are all the things that happened, and I'd write an annual letter. And it was a New Year's letter, and I sent it out on New Year's. And so it was kind of, I noticed for me it was a spiritual practice of like taking account and looking at my year. After doing that a few years, I got comments from people like, oh my God, your Christmas letter's late. It's a New Year's letter. I have to see how the year ends before I can write it and send it to you. But I realized I get more Christmas cards and hear from other people more if I send them sooner. So now I do my review sooner, which My Capricorn is crying about the numbers not lining up, but I'm learning to adjust. But I still use my annual letter as a spiritual practice. I still go back and I take stock of my year. I'm always a little amazed. I usually begin my year with setting intentions, and I get to the end of the year, and one of the first things I notice is, I didn't get that handled this year. Anybody else relate to that? Like, you set your intentions, you get to the end of the year, and you're like, well, that was a nice thought anyway. But the nice thing about writing that letter is I get to see what I did do. And I'm always a little bit astonished at what I did accomplish. And what I want to talk about today is when we take stock of our year and we look back and we're using it as a spiritual practice, I want to talk about how to make that a productive experience. So when you look at these were my intentions and this was my reality and they don't match, first thing it's really easy to do is get on yourself, right? Look at you failed, how dare you. It's really easy for the enoughness language in our own mind to sneak in and go, you didn't manage this, and we can beat up on ourselves real fast. And if that's a practice, it's really easy to not want to set New Year's intentions anymore and not make resolutions if we're going to have an experience of shame at the end of the year for it. So when I look back and look at what my intentions were and look at what my outcome was, I have to make sure that I'm doing it in a loving way for myself. And one of the ways that I do that is I just know that it's information, and I have to make a commitment to myself to practice non-judgment, because that's really what it is. I'm judging myself, and I'm judging and putting qualities on myself that aren't the truth of who I am. I'm not a failure, I'm not worthless, and I'm not less than. I'll let you in on a little secret. As a musician, I have made it a serious commitment to have my album out this year, 3 years in a row now. And this is after like 10 or 15 years of, I'm going to get busy on my album this year. I don't have an album out. It'd be really easy for me to shame myself. Really easy to say you didn't get your stuff managed, you didn't stay focused. It'd be really easy to go down that path. But I can choose to just look at it as information. And one of the things that I realize and recognize when I'm looking at this is I'm choosing how I do it, and I'm looking at, you can't just record an album if you really want to learn skills on producing. You have to learn to produce first. Did I take steps on producing this year? I took 1 or 2 baby steps. At this rate, I will not finish an album in my lifetime. But it's information. I know what to do going forward and go differently looking at my past. And I don't need to shame myself. I can just hold myself in a loving space. Because what I can do is appreciate that I had the courage to take those first steps. Has anybody ever done a big project on something that you've never done before? You don't have the information, you don't have the background, the knowledge. Have you ever noticed that the first steps are the hardest and they show the least amount of result? Those first steps, you feel like you've done nothing. But the fact that you've taken a first baby step, breaking that first ice at the beginning, that starts creating a space. And there's a little light that shines through. And when you have the end result as your expectation, maybe it's the expectation that needs adjusting. But the beautiful thing is, if we continue that path, the chipping away that path, all of a sudden, things are going to start flooding. I'll probably have 3 albums out in the same year that I get the first one out. Because once I've got the skills, it'll just go, right? So that's the number one thing about when we're looking at our year. If we want to do it productively, we need to do it gently with non-judgment. So we get to love ourselves through the process. And what great information it brings us to, right? It gives us information about what we've been through and what we need to do moving forward. I want to share a little bit about the experience I had this year when I did my letter this year. I kind of wrote everything down, and it's always surprising because you always think a year might do one thing and then it does another. I know 2020 was a huge year. We thought we were going to have a life, and then COVID hit, So we think we're going to go one way, and sometimes we have to shift. So for me, this was a really big year. My husband and I both started the year with very significant birthdays. We both hit half a century this year. And there were expectations. I was like, we're going to do this thing. And then We didn't go to Europe. He had a new job. It was a totally different experience than what I thought. We rolled with it. And it kind of worked out perfectly because we had another big thing happen this year. Our daughter got married this year, and she bought a house this year. There were lots of opportunities to support our children this year. Our other daughter turned 21. She was hosting people from out of state for an entire week and had a huge celebration there. We had our son Joshua moved off to college into the dorms, so we brought him back home and then helped him move into a house. We helped our daughter who got married. We helped her move into her house that she was buying. We helped our daughter that was living with us move into her sister's house. We helped a lot of people move. There was just a lot of opportunity to support our community this year. I've done a lot of community service, supporting DMLA, supporting Genesis Center for Spiritual Living, supporting Centers for Spiritual Living as I helped support and planned a practitioner retreat and planned classes and helped our education committee and worked with connecting our communities through our Pacific Northwest Alliance for Centers for Spiritual Living Education. I've done a lot of volunteer work this year, and I noticed that all of those things are happening. The other thing that I noticed that kind of was a surprise to me is, for me personally, 2025 held a lot of grief. I lost some really significant people to me. I lost my godmother at the beginning of the year. I lost another friend later in the year. One of my best friends lost her sister this year. We lost 2 pets this year. And I became an empty nester this year. My children all moved out. There was a lot of grief to go on this year. I don't know that I necessarily expected there would be that much grief to work through, to walk through. But the important thing is when we take stock, we need to honor that grief. Because grief isn't something to be feared or moved away from. Grief is something to just sit with. And I was reading, as I was reading the daily guides this month, we have a daily guide the daily guides were written by Reverend Dr. Michael Gott. And on December 7th, he says, grief is sacred. Grief is not clinging. To grieve something or someone is to fully feel the loss, which is the only true way to come to terms with it, and then let it go. And I love this definition because we don't just grieve people, we don't just grieve circumstances, but we also grieve the loss of not fulfilling our expectations. And there's something really beautiful about feeling how we feel about how our year went and sitting in with it and just letting ourselves feel the feelings, but not hold them. It's okay to sit next to it and let it be what it's gonna be, but we don't have to hold it. And I know that for me, with kids, going from you are my responsibility and I'm accountable for you to you are adults and I'm not accountable for you is that letting go. Letting them sit next to me, walking with them, but knowing that it's not mine to do anymore. And it is such a transition. And the reason I bring this up is because in CSL, when we talk about New Year's, we talk about releasing the old and bringing in the new. And I want to talk about our quality of release and our technique of release because it is so important. When we release, just like with grief, we allow it to be with us, we allow ourselves to feel it, but we don't want to cut it off and make it out of our lives. The reason we feel grief is because something was important and powerful to us. And we get to hold on to the power that that brought for our lives. We just don't need to put all of our attention on it always as a purpose. Our purpose isn't to give it our attention, but we want to allow it. And there is a delicate difference between the two. And how we deal with grief, of that shift, of that change, of the accounting of how our year went, will determine how stable our platform is as we move forward into embracing what's new for next year. And so that's what I really want to share about, is how we just embrace what our experience has been. And let us not forget that when we have time at the end of the year, we get to celebrate the good things that we did. I feel like, even though I don't have an album, I accomplished some really beautiful things this year. And I think it's important that I don't downplay those things. Does anybody ever accomplish something really great and say, oh, well, because you're trying to be modest or something? And I think it's so important that we give full celebration to the things that we accomplished and go, heck yeah. And similarly to grief, we let it sit beside us, and we honor ourselves in the joy, and we let it be with us, but it's not what we need to put our focus on because we've already accomplished it. And what feeds our soul as creative beings is that creative expression, which means we are invited constantly into new creation. So we get to celebrate those things, not downplay those things, but they come with us. They're part of our platform. They're part of our past. They're part of our experience. They're an important part of our story of who we are and how we've come to be who we are exactly the way we've come to be it. So we bring all of that together as our foundation, as our platform, that we don't drag it with us into the future, but we let it support us. We let it be our foundation. Do you guys get what I'm saying with that emotional feeling of a different thing? Like you're not like, ugh, this is mine. I earned this. I have to carry this trophy with me everywhere I go. It's not about that. It's about allowing it to be that background which supports you. I've had a lot of practice in the last 2 years of creating organizational order. And when I first started doing it, I wasn't super graceful yet. And I know my practitioner core has been very loving and supporting of me getting better at my leadership skills. And I'm sure they can attest. 2 or 3 years later, I'm more graceful about it now. And at least I hope. I feel like I'm getting better at it. I feel like it's becoming a more graceful experience. And I get to experience that. I get to have that support underneath me. But I'm not like saying, this is what has to come with me. So there's a way of holding it gently. There's a way of allowing it and letting it be without carrying the burden of it. So the release I want to talk about today is when we release, and we're going to be invited to do a lot of releasing this year and at the end of next year and at the end of the year after that, and all throughout the year as different moments come up for grief, we're going to be invited into the releasing. So I just ask you to pay attention and just notice yourself in a non-judgmental space. Just offer, how am I releasing? Am I releasing it to make it disconnect entirely and no longer be any part of the realm of my experience, or am I releasing it as releasing the weight of it being my burden to carry? Because we don't have to carry that. We are called into being light and free, but we are also called into allowing the support that the blessing is of the wisdom that comes with those things that are no longer serving us. We get to be supported by the wisdom. We get to be supported by the joy of our success and the memory of that. So it's a slightly different experience of that. So I love the movie Frozen so much. Has anyone seen the movie Frozen? Do we have Disney fans? We've seen Frozen. So just briefly, for those of you that haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I'm going to just give you the basic synopsis because it's been years, and if you haven't seen it, maybe it's a choice not to. So there's a young girl, 2 young girls, they're sisters, right? Elsa is the older sister, Anna's the younger sister, and Elsa, the older sister, has this really interesting mystical power. She can create snow and energy from her energy and create the most beautiful winter landscapes magically. We don't even know how it works. We don't know how it works. And what happens when we don't understand? Fear. And what happens to poor Elsa? Fear. Fear surrounds her. And so she tries to hide her talent and skill because why? We don't understand it. Fear. Sound like a theme that we see out picturing all the time right now? So there's a bit of an exile happening. She stays in a room. She separates from her sister. Her little sister's heartbroken. She just wants to spend time with her. But Elsa needs to be apart from her sister because she has this ability that she's afraid of. And as we get into the story, the girls grow up, and now she gets exposed to public again, and because she hasn't learned how to manage her fear gets the best of her, and she creates an ice winterland to the point where it's not in balance. Winter's good when we also have summer. We need our seasons. And when it's all winter all the time and the land is not acclimated for that, it causes problems. So it does. It causes a problem, and now we have to figure it out. And so when that first comes, she's like, oh my gosh, trying to control my fear didn't work, so I'm going to go exile myself really far away and then just be myself. Well, the exile is unfortunate, but I'm just going to be myself. Oh, she's on to something now, right? Let's go be myself. Let's stop apologizing for who I am. Let's stop expressing my talent. Let's stop expressing that what I can do. And so when she learns to have grace with herself, then she finds out that in order to resolve the snow issue, what's the opposite of fear? Faith. And what's at the root of faith? Love. And that faith and that love is that thing that rectifies the situation. You need that love to be the thing you lead with. And once she stops allowing fear to be the thing and is in that place of love and givingness, all of a sudden, her talents become something that she can do things intentionally and purposefully with, and they're a beautiful blessing. But it takes that whole adventure to get her to that place. And so the beautiful thing about letting it go is at the beginning process of letting it go is she just had to let go of the expectations that other people had for her so she could really embrace herself. And I feel like that's also what we do at the end of the year. We have to let go of the good. We have to let go of the bad. We have to let go of the expectations. We have to let go of all the things. But we still hold on to that which is supporting. We need to hold on to who we are. We need to hold on to our values, not with a death grip, but just as an allowance of letting them guide us. So there's that gentle balance of holding it gently and still moving forward in that which feeds us. And thank you, Elsa, for such a beautiful demonstration of how to just embrace and love on that. So what I'd like to do is I would like to lead us in a little bit of a guided meditation. So I would like to just invite you to find your seat. When I meditate, I like to keep my back just slightly off the chair so I don't fall asleep because I'm so good at sleeping. And just allow yourself to take a few slow and gentle breaths. And as you do, and you feel that air coming into the center of your being, just bring your focus into the center of your being, into that place of stillness and that place of quiet. I grew up in Colorado where the snow, when it had freshly fallen over everything, it muted the sound, and there was such a deep sense of stillness in the snow. And just like that deep sense of stillness that I would feel in Colorado, I invite you to just allow everything in your being to be still as we come into this place. And I just like to invite you to ask yourself, what does love feel like in this moment right here? I know for me, I'm coming up with appreciation. I'm coming up with acceptance. So as I breathe, I just allow that experience to expand within my body. I allow the experience of appreciation, of respect, of care, and nurture to radiate from the center of my being outward to all of my limbs, being sure to include my intellectual mind, being sure to include every aspect of my personality, knowing that every part of me serves me in the highest and the best way because I allow it. So now I just invite you to think back upon 2025. And if there's anything that you are feeling a lot of pain around, something that didn't go the way you'd hoped, a disappointment, that you just bring it and let it be in front of you, in the front of your mind. And just recognize the feelings that there are. And just allow yourself to have a moment of appreciation and love and support to those feelings, to yourself having those feelings, knowing that you're okay to have those feelings. You're in a safe space. And allow yourself to offer the situation love and acceptance, support, friendliness. Knowing that the uncomfortableness doesn't have to be carried with you, but that you can just glean the wisdom that is yours. And the rest can just be what it is without any need to make it something it isn't. But you have this opportunity right now to make your experience of your life today what it needs to be and what you'd like it to be. And setting that situation aside, I invite you to bring to mind something that went really well for you this year, something you accomplished, or just a really joyous moment that you got to experience, or a circumstance that may have been reoccurring throughout the year, and just bring that to mind. And allow yourself to just bask in the joy and the beauty and the glee of that moment. Allow yourself to feel the satisfaction, the fulfillment, the gratitude. And just allow that gratitude, that joy, that joyousness to just fill every part of your being. Expanding out through every aspect, up through your mind and your intellect, all deeply throughout your heart space, knowing that that gratitude just affects every aspect of your being right here, right now. And now I invite you to take a moment and recall a time from 2025 in which you had to grieve. And I invite you to just extend compassion to yourself and to your feelings in this moment. Acknowledge the feelings that are there. And extend your love and compassion to yourself, to your feelings, to your circumstance, to those involved. It's in times of deep grief that I'm so grateful to know that there is a power and a presence that is so deep and powerful. It created the entire universe. It is the Alpha and the Omega, and that is the source which carries me. And I allow that source to carry me in times when I feel debilitated by my own grief, knowing that the universe has got me. The universe works through me. And that love that created all of the existence of life itself, that love is absolutely infused in every moment I experience, including in my times of grief. So I allow myself to set my grief aside, bringing the wisdom, bringing the love, and just allowing the gratitude to be that which infuses within me. The gratitude I had the opportunity to care about something so much that I would have this experience of grief. So I'm just deeply grateful. And so as I recognize my year, I allow myself to just be in gratitude for the wisdom, for the joy, for the expression, for the opportunity to create, for the opportunity to transition, for the opportunity to maintain and sustain that which has been feeding and blessing me. And so in this next breath, I just invite you to breathe in that space of gratitude, knowing that you are loved by life itself, knowing that the love you express to life is valuable, beautiful, and sacred. And so I invite you to just imagine that circulation of gratitude on the next few breaths, breathing in, receiving the love that is all around you, exhaling, sharing the gratitude and appreciation and the love and care you have for all that you give back to the world, knowing that you're in this perfect place right here, right now. And so with this gratitude, we close this time in meditation together, saying thank you. Thank you for this awareness, this peace. And I invite you to bring your attention back to the room. And when you're ready, to open your eyes. So thank you, 2025. Thank you for all that you've been, and I just want to share my gratitude. I love that we have Thanksgiving that prepares us in a space of gratitude for our reflection of our year. I don't know that I ever really noticed that as profoundly as I have this week in preparation for talking today. But how profound and perfect is it that we have a season of gratitude before we have our season of review? Because that is the space to stay in to accomplish the non-judgmental experience of our review of our year. So I hope all of you have a beautiful time establishing your foundation, knowing we are diving full on into 2026. Again, I really would love to invite you to register for Visioning with Randy and I. This is going to be an opportunity to really invite God's highest idea for your life and build some skills in holding some focal points around that and really work some magic. If you have any questions, please be sure to ask Randy or I if you have questions about registration. And I hope you can join us in that. So now, you have prayer cards. If you had a demonstration you'd like to share with the practitioners, there's space on the back of the card. There's space for a prayer on the front of the card. This can be a prayer request for yourself or for your loved one, or maybe it's a very general prayer that's good for both. So let's just take a minute and put together a prayer request. When you've finished writing your prayer request, you're going to hold on to that, and we're going to put it in the offering basket that's going to come around in a few minutes. And what's really cool about these prayer requests is they're given out to our practitioner team, and you'll have a practitioner praying on your prayer request all week. So it's a great way to get things kick-started off for your new year or wrapping up 2025. So thank you for submitting a prayer request. And now, I'd like to hand it. Oh, we have a song from Chris Sullivan. So let's welcome Chris Sullivan. Cochran.
Is this the end or only the beginning? The second chance you never thought you'd get. The question is, will you do something with it or spend your days lost in your regret? This is the story of your life. You decide how the rest is gonna read. This is your chance between the lines to redefine what kind of legacy you leave. This is the story of your life, and it's a story worth telling. Breathe in deep, feel your heart still beating. Let's go see the reason you're alive. Oh, you are here, and love is up to something. So take your fear and leave it all behind. This is the story of your life. You decide how the rest is gonna read. This is your chance between the lines to redefine what kind of legacy you leave. This is the joy pain and all the pages in between. Your finest hour, your weakest moment. It's where you've been, it's where you are, it's where you're going. This is the story of your life. You decide how the rest is gonna read. This is your chance between the lines to redefine what kind of legacy you leave. This is the story of your life. Go tell the story of your life, 'cause it's a story worth telling. It's worth telling. Oh, is this the end or only the beginning?
Thank you, Chris and James. All right. Genesis is a community dedicated to love, inspiring harmony, and creating connections to empower spiritual growth. And we love that you're here to share that with us. This is an invitation to participate in circulation to connect with abundance and generosity. Your participation makes this all possible. We truly appreciate your support. Let us take a moment to craft our financial gift. If you're on Facebook, please visit our website at genesiscsl.org. All right, hold your prayer request and offering next to your heart as we say our offering blessing together. All right, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am thankful. So now Gideon will now collect the offering and your prayer cards. While we do this, please stand and sing, I give because I believe.
I give because I believe in love. I give because I believe in love. I give because I believe in love. When love is given to me, I give because I believe in joy. I give because I believe in joy. I give because I believe in joy, and joy is given to me.
Okay, so we just take this right here and right now with great gratitude and knowing that this is pressed down and overflowing with good. And this is a blessing upon each person here and upon Genesis as a whole and the whole community, knowing that God is empowered and that we are expressing bountifully and joyfully as a community, and each person knowing that each of these prayers is taken into action, knowing that it is powerful and we get to experience the bounty, and it is good. And I'm so, so grateful, and I say thank you, God, and so it is. Okay, so thanks for everyone for joining us today. Please join us after service for food and fellowship. I think the group is Opulence All-Stars. Opulent All-Stars. The Opulence. And so I'll be here in the alcove if anyone wants to pray. And wishing everyone a good week filled with joy, love, and true connection. Please stand and sing our closing song, I Release.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more